we go get light and power. Them hustle sote, they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar, just they get the higher power. Over naira. See them talk say, make we off mind. But thank God say, my ego don't come. So my people make you lie down. Yo, yo, my ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My ego die the political. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. This one not day off in mind. Oh, yo, yo. My ego don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he dey hot like pepper. But every day, then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My people make you shout. Oh, yo, yo. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Hello there.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun live. We're supposed to have our People's Parliament tonight. We may still have it, but let me get you fully into the whole program first, into the night. Share this broadcast after reading the caption of the description as well. Okay, like the broadcast. I think this also will kind of make it easier for others to see it too. And thank you for joining me. Okay, share the broadcast. The Nigerian army, they have declared 9 people wanted for the slain soldiers in Okuama. Despite the people's denial, we didn't do this. We do not have the capacity to carry out this kind of attack. Please do a thorough investigation. But without the courts, the Nigerian army have declared 9 people wanted, including an Igwe, supposed a king. Also, we just received a report this afternoon that the Nigerian court has ordered the Nigerian army to release 313 ISWAP terrorists because they are not terrorists. Somehow they should be freed. And the Nigerian army said, our hands are tied. We just have to let them go. Now, Motibe. So, good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are joining us from. It is Mayegun live. So thank you so much for joining me. Since you possibly have read the caption by now, the description of this conversation tonight. And we are going to be starting from Okuama or Okuama. This is a community that has been accused of being behind the killing of Nigerian soldiers who were supposed to be on peace mission to the community. The community came out and said, well, they didn't come to our community for peace or what have you. They came to survey the land. They said they came to meet with the people and trying to understand the area. And then they met with their leaders. Then at the end of that meeting, which has nothing to do with Okoloba and then Okuama, they said they wanted to take their leaders away. Why would you want to take our leaders away? No, you can't. Boom. It was what got the soldiers very angry, and they started shooting them right there and then from their community hall to their communities, their homes and all that, right? The terror was unleashed on them for 48 hours before we could even hear what was going on. The terror in Okuama started as far back as the 10th of March. We did not hear about the terror, the Nigerian military terror in that axis until the 15th of March, when they said some soldiers have been killed and buried. Yeah, buried. So how could people who went for peace meeting or peace mission be killed and be buried by the community? And for days, your military have been killing them until you decided to tell the whole world, or probably tell everybody, oh, they've killed so people. And the people came out and said, no, we didn't do it. No, we did not. We didn't even have the capacity. Have you been to Okuama? Have you seen our community? We do not have that capacity. When these guys came, they came in gunboats. It's a riverine area. And the Nigerian military themselves came out. Nigerian army came out and said, these guys were there to clear some of the illegal oil bunkering going on in that place. And turning around to now blame the community again. Initially, they said they went there to go and settle peace. But you won't go settle peace between two people where they fight. And you enter one party place. The other party where they fight with no day the peace meeting. So which kind of peace meeting is that? And why would you go for peace meeting and then you wanted to arrest their leaders and said they should follow you to where? There are so many questions. So they changed the story at a point. They said, no, they went there to rescue kidnapped victims. Okay. So they are rescuers, Abi. And that must have meant that there are some terrorists who took people that they wanted to go and rescue. No, they changed the story. They said, no. It wasn't. They were fighting and to stop bunkering. Those who are stealing Nigeria crude oil. They are very rampant in that axis, and this man has been clearing them. This group of soldiers killed have been clearing them, dislodging all of the illegal oil activities until they got to Okuama, and somehow they died there. So who killed them? And what has this got to do with other communities that are currently being attacked as well by the Nigerian army? In Bayelsa, other communities in the same axis of Delta, did they have something to do with the killings too? What about the Tinubu that said that the Nigerian army should not punish civilians? And right now, the wanted people are the people that came out to say, no, we were not at war with Okoloba, that will require the presence of the military. They are not telling you all that happened. And they are, in fact, not telling you who killed them. The people that came out to say they are destroying our properties, they are burning our houses. We have nowhere to run to or who to go to. Our children, people are being killed. And there's nobody to have access to those places. And those people who can't manage tell us what's going on in that place. They are the wanted people now by the Nigerian army. So this is the image. A lot of people have been debating this online, trying to figure out if the Nigerian army has such power to declare people wanted. But since Tinubu gave them the full authority, you see the man at the number 7, that's a kingo. That one is supposed to be a kingo. That man, Clement Ikolo, again, Rukewe. Rukewe is supposed to be a king, but he has been listed as one of the people who killed Nigerian soldiers. The guy at number 8, you probably have seen his video on Mayegun's Diary Politico. He was also the boy that came out to say they were lying. The Nigerian military were conducting, and many other security agencies were conducting illegal oil bunkering in that axis. So now his name has been now put up as among the people that killed 17 soldiers. Look at that woman, the woman that cried out in that video that her face was blood, but I think the people that blood the face of those people who spoke with them then when that event happened, right? So many of them, their faces were not properly covered. These were the people who escaped some of the attacks at the earliest stage and then went on to try and tell the world what is going on in Okuama, trying to let everybody see the true picture of what's going on there and how much cover-up is going on as well. Now, you remember that woman? Yeah, they have listed her as one of the people that killed soldiers now, and then others too. Okay? So, as a cover-up for the crime, economic crime that the Nigerian army is either committing in that part of Nigeria or trying to cover up. So they said this same thing also took them to Edwin Clark's house. Does Edwin Clark lives in Delta State? I always sort of believe that Edwin Clark lives in River State, maybe Port Harcourt, right? In the course of 17 killed soldiers in Okuama in Delta State, we have also heard that even Edwin Clark don't collect on top this. I don't know if you have heard it. Watch this.
So, Jonathan, what more do we know about this raid on the homes of Pa Edwin Clark and his father? Are there any more details that have been revealed that you have heard of?
Well, first, let me express the collective sadness of the Ijaw people over these provocative actions of the Nigerian military in their quest for justice for slain officers, which the entire Nigeria shared the grief with the Nigerian military and the desire for all Nigerians to get culprits being brought to book. For us as Ijaw people, it almost appears like there's a targeted onslaught against the Ijaw people using the scenario of what happened at Okuama, asking for details about what had happened regarding the invasion of our father's home. There's no truth as to the claim that criminals who were involved in that dastardly act had any trace of being in Pa Clark's home, either in Ughelli or in Kiagbodo, his hometown. Let me tell you this, there's quite a distance between Ughelli and Kiagbodo community, wherein Pa Clark has his home. And from the message from our father was that the GOC had earlier spoken to him concerning an operation which they apologized that it was a misinformation that led them raided his house in Ughelli. And the elder statesman accepted the apology in the hope that it was an honest mistake by the Nigerian military, maybe via an information that perhaps not correct. But after he had spoken to the GOC, he had also sympathized with the Nigerian military, only to be inundated with further calls that his home in Kiagbodo, where the Park University resides, has been invaded, where virtually every houses within the neighborhood were broken and people held hostage as though they were the real suspects or criminals around. And then it simply ends with an apology. The simple question is, who is not aware that Pa Clark's house is resident in Kiagbodo? Who can tell Nigerians truly that they are not aware that they were just passing by and just ran into Pa Clark's home and then treated the old man and the people who are his staff and then his family members with this level of disdain or treatment on account of an incident that every Nigerians are in solidarity with the military? Let me say this. It is becoming quite clear to us that there's more to this Okuama incident. I would not be surprised when many job people will be targeted and their homes perhaps razed down on account of looking for people who had a role in that incident. Pa Clark is perhaps just one out of several that perhaps are on the line of being targeted. Otherwise, if the GOC had spoken to him earlier and apologized to the elder statesman that it was a misinformation that perhaps led them to raid a home, which they only later discovered that was his family home. Now, going further to his community, which is a distance from Ughelli, to conduct such an operation, it calls for concern.
So, Jonathan, what more do
So this is the development, okay? And you will only hear when the home of, in quotes, important people is invaded. But before they go to Edwin Clark's house, they've been to hundreds of other houses, communities, right? Where people's lives have been turned upside down. Apart from homes being invaded, people being shot and their bodies being taken, people have been subjected in these communities now, right? They have been subjected to a sort of a dehumanization. Do you understand what that means? Like, you are not in military rule, but the military is declaring civilians from communities under attack. They are declaring them wanted. And until they are satisfied that, yes, we are now satisfied, everyone is going to be subjected to this level of criminal dehumanization. Here is another person here who are now kind of like, it's becoming like, okay, yeah, it's like they are targeting us. Like something they are after. And we know this is not about just the killed soldier. We want them to go after the real killers if they know them. But why subject communities into this kind of terrorism, this act of terror, if it is not deliberate? And it's Nigeria, you get the Jaws, the Eurobos. As much as, they're like what they call the wrangling siblings from time immemorial. Because I was reading about them the other day, and they said that the Jaws and the Eurobos, it'd be like, say, they don't feel wait to just kill themselves at any time, any given opportunity. But if external comes in between them to try to say, okay, hey, you, Joy, you are wrong, Yorubo, you are wrong, or this one, you are wrong, right? The two of them will join hand together, face you. You will come be like, I thought you were fighting. So right now, before this whole thing escalated to this, Okoloba, we're told, is Ijo. Okuama is Yorubo. I don't know if I mixed them up, by the way, but right? So The Ijaw is said, the Okoloba people are said to they are encroaching on the lands of the Yorubas. They want to take them. Okay? But right now, that the Nigerian army is now killing them, both Ijaw, Yoruba, Shekirio, everyone in that axis is collecting this state-sponsored terror now from the Nigerian army. Or maybe let's say they don't unite. True. Here is another person from that.
Okay, before I answer that, let me just give you a bit of a background that I think is important for this discussion. I was born at Otuabage, where the first oil well was drilled, the one that was found in 1956. And then I lived at the Pioneer Refinery quarters at Aliseleme. I attended a primary school that was so close to the refinery jetty in the 70s. I live at Ekpechama Kingdom, where the biggest or most expensive or most valuable onshore facility that belongs to Shell is located. And then I'm a member of 38th regular cause and then the traditional ruler. And then the author of the riddle of the oil thief. What had just happened is what is called oil-induced violence. And I think the press is not emphasizing that. The Niger Delta communities and kingdoms are oil fields that belong to private hands all this while. And from 1967, I will say, those oil fields, which means our kingdoms and communities, have been killing fields. And so this is not the first time it's been happening. It happened during the Civil War, and after the Civil War, it happened in Odi, happened in Ogoni, happened in Omuchem, and so on and so forth. And I can tell you pockets of this type of killings have happened several times over without consequences. Will any normal human being, for instance, take a gun and point at his own soldiers, national heroes, and shoot them to death? Something is wrong. And that thing has to be unraveled, because I'm more concerned about getting to the bottom and then also preventing this type of thing from recurring. It's very important to do that. I believe strongly, because from the people I know, the Chief of Defense Staff is personally known to me, a well-trained, an excellent officer. The Chief of Army Staff is well known to me, excellent officers. I believe that they will do everything properly to ensure that everyone is brought to book. However, no matter how it goes, Nigeria has to ensure that everybody concerned is brought to justice. Anything short of that means that we are just going to be postponing the doomsday. Because like I said before, this is not the first time. And then if we don't get to the bottom and resolve the major issues behind it, then we will have this type of thing recurring maybe in the next week or in the next month. You must understand that, like I said before, it is an oil-induced violence. So it has to do with oil and gas, because that whole area may either belong to one OML 43 or 45 or something. Because my kingdom is OML 28 and it spans most of Bayelsa State as well as River State. So our kingdoms are essentially oil fields that belong to people. Now, those places we've brought in well over $3 trillion in the last couple of decades. If you go to these communities, do they look like habitations for human beings? Do they look like places where human beings live? Are those persons who have gotten so, I don't know, whether disillusioned or so uninformed as to take up arms to shoot military people, normal human beings? Are they supposed to be out there just roaming like normal human beings? If you are considering them normal, I have a big question mark to put there. That is very important. The communities are in squalor. They look like squalors. And so the people may not have gotten what is ordinarily supposed for them to have to relate with people properly. Do they even know that soldiers, for instance, are there for them? So all these are fundamental. Is there sufficient naira and kobo flowing in those communities, in those areas? Are the people seeing themselves as Nigerians, for instance? Do they know that they are citizens and so have rights as citizens? These are fundamental. But I believe strongly that no normal human being should shield anybody that is a suspect. After all, it is the military's duty to investigate, as far as I'm concerned, and get to the bottom of this, because otherwise there will be a recurrence, and you never can say how worse it could get in the very near future.
Okay. You know something, right? Let me make it easier for you. What is so hard for that guy to really say? It seems to be one of the Amanayan Ambo, Abiamanayan, and Amayam, Abiamanayan. I don't know if I pronounce that right. You know, when they dress like that, it's like king. Okay. So he's practically saying that, number one, if you look at all this particular community and the communities in those, I mean, that area, can you, in true sense of it, say these communities have the capacity to raise